All right, I'm going to do this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, YouTubers. This is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon. When you find something good, like found a gold strike or something, you would want to share that. No, you wouldn't want to share it. You want to keep it a big secret. But you found something good, it's a good news in the scriptures, you want to share it with someone. I've always been that way. I've always wanted to share things that I found, and sometimes I get overboard on information, and I don't want to do that here. So I want to keep this simple. A few short videos, but I want to talk about something that's very important to me. And boy, I didn't think my voice was going to go. See how it holds up. Okay, so there's the old saying, let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. And supposedly that's attributed to Hippocrates, but a study was done back when, and they concluded they went through his entire writings, and they never found it anywhere in his writings. The only thing that comes close is he said, I will use dietary and lifestyle changes to help the sick to the best of my ability and judgment, and I will protect them from harm and injustice. So, close as they could find. But I think that is an accurate quote, fairly accurate. So, the idea being that, food is, we are what we eat. I think everybody would agree to that. And the better intake you can put into your body, the better off you're going to be. I would probably not be here if it wasn't for a company that was into nutrition, Shackley, back in my very first got married. We were into that before we got married, I believe, and we're in it for about 10 years. And my digestive system, from the time I was a kid, was messed up. I had a very horrible digestive system. I had a very bad elimination process in my body. So Herblax and alfalfa, the alfalfa rebuilt my digestive system because of the enzymes in it. And the Herblax helped me, maintain a regular elimination process. So I think I'd be dead if it wasn't for those things. Anyway, I don't need to get off on the sidetrack. So nutrition is very important. I think everybody would agree to that. Eating whole foods is the best, I think, and eating foods that are not contaminated, not GMO, not transmuted, changed, whatever. Organic. Eat organic as much as possible. Grow as much of your own food as possible, obviously. So what I discovered was about 2018. I'm just going to go ahead and try to shorten this and keep it short. I'll keep an eye on the time, 2.5 minutes. I talked to an old man. He was like 82 years old at the time. And I believe about 5 years prior to that, he had been in Phoenix. He said he was in Phoenix at the time. I remember that very clearly. He had a trailer and a bus, a school bus, and it pulled a trailer. And he said he could barely walk from one end of the bus to the other. He had heart disease. He had diabetes. He was dying. He said I remember him saying, I was dying. He was very close to death. And he got into a company. He started using products by a company that was called Isagenix, Isagnix. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. And he, within the space of time I talked to him, he was up in Idaho. And he was, taking a car up to his, before he parked a snowmobile up to the barn dominium where he lived, and called 100-pound logs up the stairs and split them with a splitting maul. And if I've said this already, I apologize. But I just want to get across, this is how I found out about this company, okay? I first heard about 10 years prior to that, and I filed it away. The woman gave me such a good impression of the company, I'd filed away. I need to get into that company someday, maybe, very impressed with the products. And so years later, about 10 years later, I talked to that guy, and I went, I've got to get into that company. Well, he didn't make an overt, attempt to recruit me. And then I had the stroke, and that was about 2020. And then while I was in the bed recuperating from the stroke, this was down at the cabin, Bill's cabin, I had a dream about a little girl. And it was really weird because in the dream, I was like, okay, I knew this little girl had loved the Lord her whole life, and had grown up and was mature and never had a son. And I woke up and I was like, who is that girl? I asked, who is that girl, Lord? And Rita Orozo. So we connected by Facebook, and I found her on Facebook and we connected and actually got together this last summer. And when I mentioned Isagenix, she was in Isagenix. Well, she's the first person I'd ever met in that whole span of 10 years or so that was in Isagenix. So I signed up under her and started using the products. And I just kind of plugged along, you know. Would have been about, I don't know what year it was. Going into 2021, probably. So I, you know, got into that and started, you know, just kind of using the products and kind of, okay, whatever. And eventually, you know, I started thinking more about it. And then this, one of the guys who's, you know, one of the upper level people in the company, his name is Jimmy Smith. And he was a butcher his whole life. His father said, if you will let me teach you how to cut meat, you'll never be lacking for a job. You'll always have work. Well, he wasn't a very big guy. He wasn't very strong or very big, so he learned to cut meat, and it kind of tore his body up. So he bad back, bad knees, bad this, bad that, you know. So about age of 74, he had retired and had done a few mills and got kind of understood network marketing, which is another thing I need to talk about. I'll do that in a separate video, but I want to keep this one short. So he got into network marketing, and then in 1974 he got into Isagenix. And when he did that, he started using the products and just. I like what he said. Here's what one of the things he says: my refrigerator is full of stuff, and I drink my products that I buy from myself out of my refrigerator. You got bottles of this and bottles of that and bottles of the other thing, you know, keeping them fresh. So I thought that, you know, he said if you buy your own products and eat your own products, you'll get healthier. That really makes sense, okay? Kind of the let food buy thy medicine, let medicine be thy food type of kind of concept. Whoever said that, you know, whether it's true or not, if it's Hippocrates, doesn't make any difference. It makes sense, okay? Buy your own food, buy from yourself, make money doing it, and you will get healthier. So I thought that makes sense. So I started committing to, you know, spending a certain amount of my monthly income on products, and so that's where I've been at with the last several months now. And in the course of that, I experienced some absolutely not miraculous, but it's just life-changing physical capability that I had never thought I would ever experience again. So during this last cold snap, when it was like 6 below zero, I happened to be in Republic at a friend's house, and there was a lot of wood that needed to be brought in. I could see that, so I brought in all the wood that he thought was going to last for the rest of the winter. I brought it all in the house. It was all in the house. A lot of physical effort there. No, I didn't carry them all. I used a two-wheeler and a wheelbarrow and things like that. But I got them all in the house, stacked up, warming up, scrubbed them off, dried them off. A lot of physical work. And then, so the Tuesday that was like 6 below zero, a friend there was like all freaking out about, hearing things on the news, frostbite, scared of this, scared of that. And again, he said, I'm going to be up there working in this. He said, I don't care about what temperature is. I work in it every year I do this. So I agreed with him. I said, I'm from Colorado. I don't care about the temperature. 6 below, 30 below zero. It doesn't make any difference. I'm going to be out in it. So because of that, I put on a light wool shawl around my chest, and I put on a summer vest. It was made for cooling, actually. It was made to get wet. You soak it wet, and then you'd put it on, and it would cool you. Well, a little bit of insulation, cut the wind a little bit. I put that on and went outside and got more of the wood in, because it was at the point of time where I knew we were going to need. He had 2 stacks, or a bigger stack than the first stack that I had bought completely in. So I started working on that second stack, and knowing that we'd probably going to need littler pieces, so I split some of it. And I'm telling you here to tell you, I had had a heart issue. I'd had a stroke, 2 strokes, and a heart attack in 2017. And I had another not minor, but how can a heart attack be minor? Pain in both sides of my jaw, sweating profusely, and shivering and pain in my heart. So anyway, I had a heart attack of some sort, and I just toughed it out, and because I didn't want to do anything other than that, because I think you can all figure out why. Made sure I stayed on the good nutrition stuff from Isagenix, and waited about a week before I did anything. And then I ended up being down there at the 6th, really when it was really cold out. So I went outside with that light jacket on, and within about a half an hour, I could feel pain in the top of my lungs, and I knew it was, they were getting frostbitten a little bit, frozen, because I could feel the pain. Okay, so I stopped. I go back in, warm up, go back out and do it again. Go back in, warm up, go back out and do it again. So I went out about 3 times that day, 3 maybe 4 times, half an hour. Not, no, I didn't push it. I wouldn't feel like I was risking my health or anything, other than the fact that my lungs hurt, But I did do some splitting, and I thought, well, if there's anything wrong with my heart, this is going to show it. But I felt so good from the products. I was taking a kind of overdosing on them, I guess I have to say. I was taking too much of the, they have some nitric oxide products, One is nitro, one is heart, shake boost, heart. It's a boost for the heart, helps the heart. It's got nitric oxide in it. And another one that was electrolytes with nitric oxide. So I was taking 3 of those and something called NAD, which is it's a chemical name for the stuff, and I'll go into that in another video a little bit briefly. It has to do with adenosine triphosphate. It has to do with at the cellular level of how your body recharges itself. ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is like the little batteries in your body. There's like 3 of them, triphosphate. There's 3 little triphosphate things in there, and they get recharged, and they rebuild themselves every so often. And that's what makes gives your body electricity, is ATP. I know this through grounding, through earthing, and other things that comes in repeatedly. Just look it up yourself if you want to do some research. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not trying to bore you with research. Okay? I'm just trying to get something across to you, very important to me, and I want to share it with you. So that's basically where I'm at on that. And so I was out in really cold weather, felt amazingly good. Split wood, didn't feel a twinge of pain in my heart or anything. I had the oxygen, I had the strength, I had the muscular dexterity, ability, coordination, everything to do it, And I carried a bunch of more wood in. And so that was one of the miraculous things. And then I ended up being down in Arkansas and came back, and I had been exposed to a lot of bad stuff. My lungs got infected with something from a bad, unhealthy situation down there. And then I got dumped off at a gas station, and wind was blowing cold. I was sitting out in the cold for about 3 hours, kind of had a really light blanket, and that was about it, And when I got back down here to where I'm at now, back to where I was, at my son's land, a trailer, 5th-wheel trailer, I had everything in the car that I had bought with me on a 2A trip to go to Roby, Missouri, to go to the Prepared Homestead meeting, the end of that month. So went back for a 2-day trip. I ended up being in Republic for about a week, and then I went down to Arkansas for a few days and came back, was dropped back up here. So with all of that exhaustion and exposure and just stress, massive amount of stress, massive amount of emotional trauma, just horrific amount of trauma, I felt so good. I had one shake that day, one of the Isagenix shakes, and I unloaded the car, put it in wheelbarrows. Then I had to unload it out of the wheelbarrow into the car, drove it up to my trailer area, unloaded it out of the car into a big single cart, a big gorilla cart. It's like a 10 cubic foot cart. Unloaded out of that, got it inside my fence area, unloaded it out of that up onto the porch, and then unloaded it out of the porch into the trailer. So I had 5 moves, and I just, every time I did one, I'm like, I should not feel this good. I should not feel this good. I should not feel this good. And I did it 5 times in one day. Just boom, 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 boom. Just kept right plugging along. Got it into the trailer. Okay, I'm done. Okay. So it's just amazing. So I've had 2 very amazing. Just I shouldn't feel this good. There's no way. It just has blown me away how good I felt. Okay, I'll just put it that way. Okay, let's end with that. So let me just say that. And so that's my personal testimony. That's just like this is how I feel. This is what I feel about it. And I want to go into other things about network marketing and multi-level marketing, which I have hated for years. And I'll go into that. If you're going like this at this point, I don't blame you at all. Get away from me. Get away from me. Vampire. Werewolf. Yeah, I know. I understand. So I totally agree with you. I empathize. I feel for you. I felt the same way. Absolutely. And I still do pretty much. Anyway, I want to just talk about that. It's kind of funny, but I'll talk about that in another tape. So I'm going to just end this one here and say that's my experience. Isagenix has been I've had testimonies from 2 or 3 different people that was really good stuff. I've experienced it myself, and just it's good food. Eat it, use it, and get better. And here's the thing: is that the thing with the ATP and the NAD, and that's I'm not even gonna try to remember it. I should be able to remember, but I can't. Okay, nicotinamide, adenosine, something. Anyway, doesn't make any difference what it is. Doesn't make any difference what it means. I don't care what it means. It works with ATP, adenosine triphosphate. I know that one. That battery. It helps your body at the cellular level to rebuild itself. Okay, that's the important thing to remember. This all the other stuff, to forget about it. Doesn't make a difference what the three letters stand for. ATP or NAD doesn't make any difference. But they help rebuild your body at the cellular level, and that's what I'm looking at. So this guy that's 82 years old and can haul a 100-pound log up 2 flights of stairs up to a 30 foot off the ground barn and split it with a splitting maul. And he told me his resting cardio, his pulse, his oxygen levels, and his blood pressure and whatnot. And he had the physique, the cardio of like a 25-year-old triathlete, Ironman triathlete in the peak of physical condition. So what has happened over a period of years is his body's been rebuilt from at every level. His heart's been rebuilt, his brain's been rebuilt, his liver, his pancreas, his spleen, his gallbladder, they've all been rebuilt cell by cell, and that's possible. So that tells me it's possible because what he told me about, and I've seen it happen again. Well, I know that one of the guy, Jimmy Smith, that I mentioned earlier, he's now 95 years old. He was 74 when he got into Isagenix, began using it. And 21 years later, he has the body of a 73-year-old man with the bone density of a 59-year-old man. Okay, so he spent $5,000 on a full battery of medical tests, and he's in better shape now, and he looks better than he did 21 years ago. So it can happen, So I'm believing that. I think that if we are careful with what we eat and get the best nutrition that we can get in better shape, and that's my plan, my goal. So you can watch me. I've lost about 20 pounds. I was about 246, and I'm about 208, 210 right now. So I've lost a bit of weight, and I'm not as bad a shape as I was when I started. I'll put it that way. Okay, so I'm going to end it there. Thank you. God bless everybody. Bye bye.